5, 4, 3, 2.
Mwah, 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 mwah. It's your girl Sunshine here. You know what it is. It's Tuesday night, live and direct. So I got my boy, personal friend, good friend, Gerald here with us, and Ron, who's in the background. Say what's up, Ron. You got to show your face one time to show the shirt. So,
I'll be here shortly. Y'all know I'm working on the producing.
I know he's a producer because let me tell you, doing it Thursday, whoo, Jesus, I gave him the day off again. Never again. I'm sorry, Ron, I can't do that. It ain't happening.
I appreciated it.
It was like flag on the play. I was like, hold up, Ron does this. I don't do this. They was like, you got him on your pay. I said, you know what? That's the last time he gets a day off. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty. It's your girl Sunshine here. So Gerald, introduce yourself to the people that don't know you.
Hey, for those that don't know me, my name is Gerald, good friend of Nicole and Shamark. I've known them for 10 plus years. Started back working for an insurance company together. Nicole was somebody who sat behind me and she scared the heck out of me always. Her husband worked there too, Shamark, and
totally
when I moved to a different department within the company, I became really close with him. So I've just been a friend of the family, and they always ask investing advice and things about firearms and things of that nature, and I'm always a good resource to help them out. Yeah. I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but I've seen some successful things. I have some stories to tell that have shown success with people I've helped in the past. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I have to offer. So she invited me on the show, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can bring out some jewelry and some guns. Yeah, oh, I'd love that.
Yes. And I was telling him, growing up with my grandmother from the South, she brought up her pearl pistols, her shotguns, sort of shotguns. Yeah, you know, some illegal ones. But anywho, I grew up with it. And Shamark was like, damn, your family just loves some guns. And I was like, I got my 9mm, but I want to get a small one. So when I'm downtown, I don't have to worry about digging out the big one. I could just have a little one on my hip, or when I have a dress on, I needs to have a little. Yeah. Because they be acting stupid downtown, okay?
And it's only getting worse. And honestly, any capable person who has the ability to purchase a firearm legally, you know, I'm talking no felonies, and they meet all the requirements to be able to purchase one, should have one. You know, it is their right as the U.S. God-given right. Second Amendment is something that shouldn't be infringed on, I believe strongly in, and especially females. You know, we've seen a big increase in females purchasing firearms for the first time, especially during all the civil unrest that's been going on. You know, our females need to be protected. You know, my fiance, I'm making sure she's going through the process to get hers right now too, because God forbid I'm not able to protect her myself. I want her to be able to protect herself and my family, my kids. So that's, you know, everybody should. If you have questions about how to go through that process, I'm an open resource. Nicole will direct you towards me.
Sure will.
You know, especially getting some minorities in there too. You know, we've been seeing a huge influx in that as well. So those are things that I'm always happy to see. You know, when I walk into a gun store and I see people who look like me who are doing the same thing, and it feels good. You know?
Oh yeah, you come across me the wrong way and you think you're gonna harm me, don't get it twisted. Sunshine, maybe sunshine, but I'll put it in you real quick, fast, in a hurry, because it's either you or me. And I got kids to go home to. I'ma take you before I go. Don't get it twisted, Bo.
So I guess a big part of what you brought me here for, maybe not to scare people with these guns.
No, we're not scaring. You just need to know you have the right to bear arms. It's not just Caucasians. It's not just, it's all of us, Boo, as long as you ain't got no record.
Yep, okay? That is true. Yeah, and for the people who are watching that already, you know, exercise their rights and haven't had the ability to maybe go to a range or practice, there's other ways that you can practice at home. One thing I always advocate for the people that I talk to about firearms is they're called snap caps, which it's a fake round that you put in the gun, and it helps you simulate trigger pull, reduce any type of flinch that you have, and you can fire it in the house and do practicing in a safe manner. I always practice gun safety, and if I do bring out any of the guns that I brought today, you'll see that they've been checked and cleared. But those are things that, you know, you need to exercise and practice, because when, excuse my language, S hits the fan, you know, somebody's breaking into your home, you don't want to be unprepared for, you know, that type of situation. So I'll just bring this out now. One of the things, now this is actually a replica from Glock themselves. So Glock is a manufacturer of firearms. This is a Glock replica gun. A lot of police use this for training. It's called an air gun. So during this whole pandemic that's been going on, I haven't had the ability to go to the ranges that I usually like to go to because they're closed for the most part, or some of them, the ones that are outdoors, are super far away, and it just doesn't, it's not feasible. It doesn't suit my lifestyle to do those. So I went out and purchased one of these, unloaded, it's checked. This is an air gun, and it shoots metal BBs, but it's good because it has all the same weight and characteristics of the actual firearm that I have the real one of. And it gives me a good feel for how the gun feels in my hand. It gives me the idea for how I can have proper trigger pull, and I can practice with it, put it in and out of my holster and things of that nature. So for all my gun people that are watching right now, you should get one of these so you can do some practicing in your backyard, because these are illegal to shoot in your backyard. And again, follow your local laws and regulations. Make sure you look those up. But you see the replica, one of the real ones, again, safety checked. You can see it's clear. There's nothing in the chamber, anything of that nature. These, you want to get as much practice as possible with these, because God forbid something happens, you want to be prepared. So you never want to have to use one of these, but I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and need it. So, I mean, we got a bunch of things that we can talk about with those, but for the most part, you know, that's kind of how both of us stand on it.
Yeah.
When I found out you had yours, I was like,
Shamark,
I was like, what you mean? She got hers too? I was like, oh man.
he don't have his.
Shamark
I got
his,
mine, and I hit you dead in the center. I hit you in the crotch, and I hit you in the forehead. I ain't the one. Test me if you want to. And I got the red eye. People say, what's the red eye? I said, I got the laser. So whatever that red laser hits, I'ma tear you up.
Oh man, that's awesome. When I found out, I got excited when you told me that.
But they're all closed right now. The indoor shooting range. It's like, yo, man, where can I? Now, if you got a big backyard, let me come shoot in your backyard. I need to get some off. I'm just, you know.
But a big part of what she brought me on today was talk about some investing.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's jump gears a little bit.
First, get your pad and paper, y'all, because these tidbits is going to be very good. Trust. And you can always come back to this, just speak easy, and rewind of the notes as well.
So a big part of investing, in my opinion, I can only speak on my personal experience that I've had. I'm not an expert by any means. I just read a lot. I follow a lot of people on YouTube, and I read a lot of articles with regards to investing, and I take my take in that. I put that my perspective on what I feel is going to make a good investment. Now, the first thing I'll say is you have investors and you have traders. They are two different things completely. Mm-hmm. An investor is someone who is holding for a longer period of time and is not looking for a quick flip. So, for example, I've tried both. I've tried trading, and that is extremely hard and time consuming, and it's not something that personally fits my lifestyle, because I was waking up 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get the news as much as I can to see how it's going to impact certain stocks and certain markets. And it was like a full-time job. I couldn't do it passively like investing. You can do investing passively, where you can just set something aside and that will grow on a consistent basis on average. So I like to start by saying there's two different types of, you got traders and you got investors. If you think that this show is going to show you how to get rich, it's not. I'm not promising anyone the world, but I'm showing you a proven record that even the great Warren Buffett follows by this philosophy.
Sure do.
And I don't know if you had a chance to meet Warren Buffett.
Oh, I love Warren.
I had a chance to meet Warren Buffett personally. We was on the Chairman's a couple of times. We sit with Tony Nicely and Bob and all of them at the Chairman's Center. Yes, they know me very well. Those guys are phenomenal. I mean, and to see how humble he is, and I read all of his articles. He has a great book. This is the first tip: invest in yourself. Yes. And what I mean by that is learn as much as you can from as many people as you can to get different perspectives. I'm only giving you one view. My view is not the all right, be right. There are other views out there, but I feel like God puts people in life that you can learn from. Everyone knows something more about something than you do. And that is, with investing or anything, that holds true in my experience. So invest in yourself, read the books. I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Those are great tools and resources to get your mind thinking. That was a great book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Oh man, just the whole concept. Look, I had highlights, I had underlines, and I was like, oh, I was folding, it was like a gem. It was just like, that is a good book. Like seriously, get that. Yeah, I have it on my Apple. I downloaded it on Apple eBooks, whatever it's called. It's a great read. Warren Buffett has one called Snowball. Those are all great resources. I mean, we can go on for days talking about books that can help you.
Yes.
But first thing, invest in yourself. Second thing, see what opportunities your employer has in terms of retirement. So we'll start step by step. So you should start your 401k or a Roth IRA as soon as possible, as young as possible as well. You don't want to be 50 years old trying to play catch up, trying to get money into your retirement because you're expecting to retire in a few years. You want to start young. I've had the benefit from the company that I work with has really given me the tools to understand. I've taken all their seminars when Vanguard comes, investing seminars and things of that nature. So I've learned from them. I've done business classes. I've never had any formal training in terms of investing, but I've seen it work. I've helped apply these same skills in my own life and in other people's lives. Like my fiance, for example, when her and I first started dating, she had no idea what that was. She had no idea what a 401k was, how to really save money. She had it in a savings account. It's not really earning her anything. And kind of after I learned it myself, I kind of took that and helped her out with it as well. And now her ROI over the last 2 years is over 9%, which is beating the market. And to just kind of break that down more for people who are not 100% familiar with what that means, the return on investment that she has is over 9%. The market, the stock market, the Dow, those things tend to average about 6 to 8% return on investment every year. And that's just an average over the course of how the stock market has done since its inception. You can expect to see a return between 6 and 8% every year, which means if you invest $100 and never invest another dollar into that $100 initially, that $100 should double in about 6 years.
But also, I want to add on, if you do have 401k and Vanguard or whatever you have, but your 401k, every year you get a promotion, you should update how much you want to put in. Like with Geico, they started us at 3%. And so then every year I was going up 1%. Okay, I'm a year. Okay, now I need to do it to 4. Now, if the money's right, I'll move it up 2 more percentage instead of just 1. That's how, and you don't look at whatever you do, don't look at how much you got by the next thing, because then you're going to screw yourself, because then you're going to take money out. Then you're going to get hit by Uncle Sam.
Taxes
and Uncle
Sam's
going, and then on top of that, you still got to pay when you file at the end of the year.
That's a fact.
Be careful. Go ahead.
That's a great segue. That's anyone who's investing, don't look at the amount of money you have in there on a daily or even a weekly basis. Maybe check it. I'm guilty of it though. I like to see that I have, as a 31-year-old man, I have over 6 figures towards that portion.
But after the virus hit, I cried. I haven't even looked at it since March.
You might actually be surprised, depending on what you have your investments in. You might be surprised, but the market has done pretty well. Today was actually a rough day for the market, though. I don't know if you guys followed it. Today was a rough day. But overall, you don't look at it.
Don't look at it.
Especially if you have anxiety, because you might see it go down drastically one day or go up drastically the next day. Don't look at it like that. But like I said, see if your company or your employer has those benefits, because you can take advantage of that and start when you're younger. And by the time you're 55 years old, you can be making more money in retirement than what you are while you're working. And that is a beautiful thing. It really is.
Well, CJ has a question. That's one of my partners.
Oh, yeah.
CJ does sports on Mondays. What up, CJ? CJ said, question, Jalen, CJ said, why can my company play with my money, but if I want to take some out and play, I got to pay taxes?
So that's not necessarily your company doing that. That's the way the government has the laws written. So essentially, they're going to penalize anything that you take before your age of retirement. They kind of wanted to, and this is my opinion speaking, they kind of wanted to let people stray away from Social Security and actually look towards investing themselves. And they feel as though if they loosen up those restrictions and allow people to take out, they would be setting themselves up for failure, when it's time for them to retire. But there is ways around it. Now, I've personally done this myself. You can take loans from your 401k too, where you don't take the penalty, but you pay it back with interest to yourself. You don't pay the interest back to Uncle Sam or anybody else. You pay the interest back to your account. So when I purchased my first home, unexpected, I can't talk about how much more money it costs to actually finalize on a house than what you save up for, you anticipate. But I needed some extra money, and I had already been tapped out. I had just had my youngest daughter too. Money is tight, so I dipped into my retirement there as a loan, so that way I could make up the difference for what I needed to purchase the home. And it gave me the ability to pay it back with interest to myself, which wasn't much. It was still 3%, but and you can kind of set the terms for how long you want to pay it back to. So you can kind of look at your 401k as a bank where you can loan to yourself. You don't really want to take loans out, because now that money's out of the 401k, it's not gaining the compounding interest, the dividends, or any of those things. But it is great to have that safety net. God forbid you absolutely need it. There's some sort of, your roof collapses on your house or something like that. Yeah, you might have some money in savings, but you might not have enough to make a $15,000 cover, a $15,000 loss. And that's kind of where you can dip into that. But I don't recommend withdrawing. But if you had to, you could take a loan out towards it. But I don't, even though I did it, I don't recommend it.
Now, what he's saying with a loan, because CJ said a loan, what he's saying is a loan is, it's your money, but it's really technically not yours until you hit 62 or 65?
62 and a half years
62.
old. And then once you get over 65, I believe you get a higher percentage from Social Security, but the same thing with the 401k.
So here's the thing. So if you take out, you're borrowing against it, but then you can have your check reimbursed. You could set it up to where, because that's what we did. We came in with 20,000, but we wanted to put more down. So then we took some from the Vanguard, but we paid it back through our checking, and then let you pick how much you want to pay back each check, and they automatically take it out. So now when I want my new whip, which I'm gonna be getting maybe Christmas time, get my new whip.
We were just talking about this before the show.
Yes. Now, since it's winter up in Buffalo that is severe, I want a rover. I work hard. I bust my butt. He busts his, but it's time for mine. I brought him that truck out there. So it's time for me to get some wine. So we may borrow a little bit, so that way we pay it fully outright. So we ain't got to do that.
The interest and the benefit that they're doing it this way, the interest that they're paying back on the loan on their own Vanguard, they're paying that interest to themselves. They're not paying it to a bank, because you go to a bank and finance your vehicle, you can, as long as that, this leads me to my next point is creditworthiness. You want to make sure creditworthiness.
Yeah.
But if your creditworthiness isn't good, or if it's even just mediocre, you're going to be paying between 5 and 10% interest to somebody else. So you're essentially making somebody else rich.
Yeah. So why not you use your Vanguard? You could take a hardship. If God forbid a loved one, like your mother or your father passed, and there's not a lot of collateral to pay for the funeral, you could take a hardship and won't get taxed by Uncle Sam or anything, because they need to first see the printout from the funeral home, because they're not just going to give you a hardship to give you a hardship, because it's your money, but technically it's not until you hit the retirement age. So CJ said, break it down like you're talking to a drug dealer.
I've done this before.
Okay, so break it down. Go ahead. He's going to break it down, and then we're going to come with your question.
Man, so, breaking it down in that sense, if you have a 401k, let's just use some round numbers. You got $10,000 in your 401k that you're 100% vested in, which means that is 100% your money. You can reach out to your broker, whoever it is, whether it be Vanguard or Fidelity, whoever it is, and request a loan. You just specifically ask for a loan. It can be for anything. You can take a loan out for anything. You don't really have to give them many details as to what you want it for. But you do have to set the terms for how you're going to repay that loan on your own 401k. Now, again, I don't recommend taking out loans unless you absolutely need to. But I've done it before, Nicole's done it before too. You just reach out to them directly and ask them that specifically. Hey, I need to take out a loan on my 401k. How much do I have available to do so? What are the terms that I can set to repay that? right. I hope that answered your question, Chris.
No, that was CJ.
Oh, CJ.
Now Ernest, he'll comment soon. Hold on. Oh Lord, CJ, you're gonna have to wait a minute. Ernest said, "What if you do not have enough to take risk in the stock market, property, etc.? How do you take risk at a job that does not pay a lot? It's hard to just switch jobs. So what would you suggest to be done? Is a 401k enough of a risk?"
So even income definitely does create certain limitations, but with great programs that they have now, like Stash and Robinhood, you can do fractional investing. So you don't have to buy full stocks. You can buy shares of stocks. For example, before Apple made their split recently, Apple shares were about $400 per share. Now, somebody who's working a 9 to 5 probably doesn't have the disposable income to buy one share of Apple. So with Robinhood and Stash and some other companies, they've allowed you to invest however much you want. So if one share is $400, they've allowed you to, let's say, purchase $100 of that, which is a quarter of that share. And that way you're still investing, and that way you're still sharing in the rewards if that stock starts to tick upwards and starts to increase in valuation. So now you paid $100 for a quarter of Apple's share. And let's say Apple has a 100% increase. So now Apple shares are worth $800. Your quarter of your share still follows those same returns. So that $100 you invested initially would now be $200. So you still have the ability to invest with a lot of these things that we have available. And you should definitely take advantage of Robinhood or Stash. I know she uses Stash. I use Robinhood.
We're gonna talk about that.
If you can, I believe if you share with Stash too, you can even get a free stock. I don't know if they still do that. Stash.
Really?
That's why I signed up with Robinhood, because I had Fidelity originally. Then somebody linked me to Robinhood, and you got a free stock based off of it. So if somebody sends you the link for a Robinhood or Stash, I believe that you do still have the ability to get a free stock, and it's not like you're getting $1 million stock or anything like that, but they give you some. I got a Groupon stock, I think, when I signed up, which was like $6. But I mean, it still was cool to get it for free.
It's
nothing,
still
right?
good because with Stash, I got Walmart, Amazon, I have Apple. Yes, because we Apple family up in here.
And then that leads me to another point. You always invest in things that you know. I don't know anything about farming, so I'm not going to invest in any farming things, machinery or anything like that.
I'm not good
I know
with
gadgets.
farming.
I know airplanes, and I follow a lot of Boeing. That's actually a big company that I'm probably going to dump a lot of money into, because they've been hurting, during this whole pandemic, and
Boeing, B-O-W?
Boeing, yep. During this whole pandemic and during, kind of the slowdown.
Boeing,
B-O-E-I-G.
See, I got it all wrong. B-O-E-I-N-G.
And that might be a risky one, but that has been, for as long as I've been investing, a blue chip stock. And over the last year, they've been hurt really bad. I mean, the shares last time I checked were like 160, 170. And this is a stock coming from, $300 or $400 stock before this hurt them. So I'm actually banking on them having a turnaround, because Boeing does a lot of contracts with the government in terms of like our military. They also do a lot with the airlines. So my thought process, and again, this is in my opinion, is that once things normalize a little bit and people start flying more and planes are needed more and the government spends a ton of more money on the military, their contracts go up, their valuation goes up, and I can earn money, and it can get back to what it's normally been, which is the $300 and $400 range.
You're trying to get that money up.
Now that's just, and like I said, that is a risky one, because I have taken risks and been burned by them too. I don't think I'll be burned by Boeing, but I got burned by General Electric. Again, they were a blue chip stock, $40 a share, and they got hit by like some $800 million insurance bill, and then a bunch of other things. Then they started selling off a lot of their assets, and now the shares, the last when I bought in, I was down to $9 a share. I dumped a lot of money into it, thinking that they were going to have a turnaround, because when they hired their new CEO, they gave him every incentive in the world to have the turnaround. He stood to make hundreds of millions of dollars if he can get them back to their previous standard, and I just got burned. I haven't sold. I can't do anything with it because,
Yes,
as
sir.
Warren Buffett says, the first rule of making money is never to lose money. And that may sound silly, but as long as I don't sell out and that company doesn't go bankrupt, I technically haven't lost anything yet.
I know that's right.
I'm thinking that I'm hoping I can hold that out for the long term and have that turn around for me, and help give me some of that money back. But I guess to answer your question, you can invest with fractional money, and you can even do bullion, and that's I brought some here today, which is precious metals.
And
now
we're gonna talk about the coins as well.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, when I graduated from college, my godfather gave this to me. This is the 75.
I see.
So I know because I've worn that because he gave it to me, and he was like, you're wearing money in investment. He was like, I invest in you because I love you. You're my daughter. I was like, I love you. But then now, once I started buying from you the coins, I was like, hold up. But he was like, you're not wearing it? I can't hurt his heart. So, they'll be able to figure it out because I still got the stuff in my my lockbox. Yes, boo. I keep my investments.
Yeah, so you can even invest, and I never tell, even though I sell bullion, I never tell people they should dump all their money into bullion. You should be diversified in any way.
Split it around.
Real estate, the market, your 401k, bullion. You should be diverse as you possibly can.
For real.
So for example, if you are working on a minimal income, you can always start with silver bullion. I love selling silver. I personally like silver more than gold.
Why do you like silver more than gold?
So silver is not only is it more accessible and cheaper to obtain larger quantities of it, silver is typically not mined by itself. And what I mean by that is silver is an off product of them mining other things like gold and platinum.
Okay.
So there's not many places out there mining just for silver. So silver is actually very rare. The price doesn't reflect it right now. It is up to about $27 an ounce right now, but silver is actually very, very rare because it's hard for them. They can't just produce like the government made $1 trillion out of nowhere. You can't just produce gold and silver out anywhere. It has to be mined, has to be refined, and then it has to be processed. So in my opinion, I think silver is the best buy. It's the best bargain right now because you can buy large quantities of it for relatively cheap. And if you are on a budget, you can buy something really, really cheap. So I brought some. Now, this is what we call in the industry junk silver. Now, it's junk. It's just, I don't know if the camera can really show it. Before we switched to a fiat currency in the US, the currency was backed by gold and silver. So any US coins
but I'll take pictures and post it on the site.
Any coins, any quarters, dimes produced before 1964 were 80% silver. So they're actually made with 80% silver. We call that junk silver. Now you can buy junk silver for relatively cheap, about 10 times the face value. So if you got 25 cents, you can typically, silver's up quite a bit now. You can typically get those silver coins for about $2.50 to $3 a coin. Now, silver holds its value really well. It has over the years. It's actually spiked up tremendously. $27 is really high. And now we're charging a pretty large premium over spot for silver just because it is becoming more scarce. Everyone's starting to switch to investing in precious metals because they realize once you see the government printing off $1 trillion in money out of thin air, what's that doing to the value of the dollar? It's decreasing it through inflation. So now I went to Walmart the other day and a gallon of milk was $5.
It's ridiculous.
So, you'll start to see things become more expensive as time goes on. And the good thing about precious metals is they are a hedge against inflation. So $1,000 in silver today, will have more buying power than that same $1,000 in 10 years. And that's just how history has shown it's repeated itself time and time again. But yeah, to answer that question, you can invest in precious metals, a very small fraction. It doesn't have to be much. My fiance started investing in the market pretty cheap too. She started with like $30 a paycheck, something kind of out of sight, out of mind. She doesn't think about it. It comes out before you even see your paycheck. And right now, she's blessed. She's, for somebody who's only been investing for 2 to 3 years, she's accumulated quite a bit and just following some of the tips that everyone can read about,
Okay.
Yeah.
They said, what are some hot stocks right now that you're aware of?
If you'd asked me this yesterday, I would have gave you a perfect answer. Today was a rough day for the stocks that I think are hot. Apple, I think, dropped. Let me just check really quick. Apple dropped like 4%.
Oh, I didn't look.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Look.
Apple dropped 7%.
Oh,
Tesla dropped 21%.
What? 21?
Mm-hmm. So, but
April, your Tesla dropped 21. At least Apple did 7.
I'm a big fan of Tesla too, by the way. But kind of what I was telling you before we started going live, when you have election years, you start to see a lot of volatility in the market, which means you start to see a lot of price fluctuation. And that's because these big businesses, people on Wall Street don't really know what the next administration is going to do to these businesses, how they're going to regulate them, how they're going to tax them, how they'll be able to maintain their profitability. And that typically relates to a direct correlation with those companies' valuations and their stock prices. So that's why, like I said, you'd asked me yesterday, I would have said Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Boeing is, well, again, that's something that I personally am going to probably dump quite a bit of money into, just because I don't want to miss the opportunity. I missed the opportunity with Amazon.
I know, we all missed that opportunity. Well, not everybody.
Yeah,
some guy, lucrative, real nice.
Yeah, I definitely missed the opportunity with that. I considered buying in when it first hit $1,300, and I thought there was a lot more value out there from other companies, but I was going to put $1,300 just for one share. And that stock doesn't pay a dividend either. I'm really big on passive income, and I'm looking for stocks that pay a quarterly dividend at the very least.
I know that's
and I kind of missed the boat on that one. I did catch the wave on Bitcoin though, and I don't recommend investing in Bitcoin. It was very risky. I kind of felt like I was just gambling. But me and a couple buddies.
I go to the casino here and there. I like the roulette table. Red. 21.
100 on red.
Look, and my birthday, 10, 17. Yo, and then you put them in the squares. Look.
Yeah. Well, that paid 30 to 1, right? Something crazy like that. But I made quite a bit off of Bitcoin when that hit, which me and a few other people that I work with, we were throwing in a few grand, nothing crazy.
He said a few grand, nothing crazy.
Oh, that's between all, it's nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
I know some people who invested a lot of money
in
Bitcoin,
and I was looking at them like,
my risk tolerance is not that much.
I'm not cheap, but when it comes to stock markets to where it's a big risk, I'm not dropping all that on there. Now I'll split it up.
Yeah, you got to diversify. That's right. SPY. You asked for a hot stock. SPY.
That's number one on my list because when I get done with this and we're done with this, he's going to show me about that because I have money sitting in my stash needing to be divided out and get my stocks.
SPY is buying the market. So remember what I was saying about how the volatility of the stock market can fluctuate drastically. Since you're buying so many different companies, a fraction of them, it's very unlikely that all those companies are going to be doing bad at once. And that way it kind of balances out your investment. And SPY is not that expensive of a stock. I think the last time I checked, it was like $260 a share, which is, if you would have invested when I first spoke about this to some other guys, last year is up by about 40% or so. So it has a pretty good return. And like I said, that's buying the market is really, if you want to play it safe, that's where it's at. You want to get risky, man, jump into picking out the company you want and throwing some money at that. But as you get older, you tend to do less risky things.
Yeah,
you know
man.
I mean? So anyone who's listening that's 20 or younger, man,
go for it. I tell you, go
shoot for the moon.
20,
you
ain't got no kids, and it's just you, Dolo, throw that money out there and watch and sit back. I tell my sons that now. I was like, don't have no babies at a young age. Tour the world.
It makes you grow up fast.
Yeah, it sure do. And I don't want them to. We did, but I want my kids to tour the world. Even though we take them to tour,
it's different when you're
different when you're on your own. When you're on your own, no kids, you could do a whole lot, and it's your money. Nobody else you gotta pay, but maybe your apartment and stuff like that. Man, listen, live it up. Yeah. Live your life like it's golden. You heard?
Someone sang that once famously. Living your life like it's golden. Sunshine.
Right. Sunshine here.
So I mean, any other questions we got from any of yours?
Let's see here. What else? Black-owned stock market. What's the difference with Robinhood and Stash? Why you like Robinhood better?
Actually, it was just the first one that I was exposed to. Okay. I don't necessarily like that one better than the other, but like I said, they were offering a promotion. I use Fidelity primarily is who I use, but I have to pay. It's like $3 per transaction fee. Robinhood and Stash are free.
Yeah, why are you paying somebody?
Fidelity was the first one that I started investing with. But somebody told me about Robinhood. I kind of thought it was gimmicky at first, and I was like, no, it's free, and they give you a free stock, and it's free trading. And I was like, all right, let me check it out. So I checked it out, and I mean, it was legit. So that's why I went with that one. But Stash and Robinhood, they're just two different platforms that kind of basically perform the same thing.
Your fiance said, milk $5. We got no money to play with. I feel you, right?
We went to Walmart. I looked at. I was like, man, we drinking water today with the cereal. $5 for a gallon of milk.
Water with the thing. That's why I go to Tops. I'm like, love. But it's still ridiculous because of this virus. Everything has escalated.
Yeah, I mean, think about how production of a lot of things have stopped. Even if you looked at the price of meats, like beef,
God,
you can't find steak for under like $14 a pound right
now. What are you
and
and
I love steak. I'm a steak guy too.
I'm a T-bone steak lover. Thick and nice, full off the bone, make you suck it up with a biscuit. You know, I go to the butcher, but like, what?
Yeah, Federal Meat Market's like, whoa.
And Jalen can eat a T-bone steak by himself, and he's only 15. And I'm like, oh, you want me to job? So
I got to the point, I was like, man, I'm gonna eat tofu at it from now. Make me some vegan stuff because I'm joking. But I was like,
some people have because of the prices. It's crazy.
I mean, but think about how the production stopped. A lot of the exporting of our goods have stopped going to the other countries that really make a big impact on us. So it all plays to these economics and what's going on with this pandemic, man. And it's crazy to see. God forbid this happens any other extended period of time. I don't know how a lot of people are going to survive. You know, you got single parents out there too, who kids are staying at home for school. How are they supposed to work? That's all going to have an impact on the economy, one way or another. I mean,
it's having a big impact now with the internet dropping. I put on Facebook today. I was like, look, people, y'all better back up what you doing on the internet right now because the schools. Internet was crashing. I had to reboot my computer at work, and I work for the law firm. Back up every 5 to 10 minutes if you don't want to lose that important document.
Because you got, how many students are in every county? I'm assuming, I don't know the number specific, probably like 60,000 or more, I'd say.
It's crazy.
All these students are online now, taking up all this RAM and data. And we experienced it with my middle child. She's in Buffalo Public School. And she wasn't able to log on at all today. Her first day of school, she wasn't able to do anything.
This is just a hot mess, period.
But we're blessed where both of us have the ability to work from home right now during this pandemic. And we kind of support one another in terms of I can watch the kids while I'm working, and you can go do your work and vice versa. I really feel sorry for the parents or the people out there who don't have somebody else to support them like that. And it's not like anybody's helping you out either. If these people are renting too, they have to worry about back rent that they have to pay. There's no other stimulus coming right now. It doesn't look like. I mean, there's a lot that I think is really going to impact the economy, and that's another reason. Like, yes, invest right now, but just make sure you're cautious and understand that there's a lot of other outside variables that could impact this drastically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now you talked about silver. Let's talk about gold.
Gold. All right. So
bring up
gold,
that thick necklace.
So
right.
Gold. I'll start with some gold bullion first, because you got gold bullion, much more expensive. This is 1/10 of an ounce. You can buy these for about $220 right now, plus premium for 1/10 of an ounce, all the way up to an ounce, which is probably spending about $2,007 per ounce. This is a great, I mean, I can go anywhere in the world with these American Gold Eagles and have value, liquid cash. This turns into liquid cash anywhere. This is actual real money. The money that we have in our pockets, the dollar bills we have, that's a fiat currency. That's the promise that, hey, this is worth this amount of money. That's not real money. If you look back to the pharaohs and the kings, they all valued in their gold and their silver, and that's because it's recognizable all over the world. It can't be faked. It can't be produced out of thin air like money can, and it's something that is a really good investment to hedge against inflation. So this is an investment. So if you want to invest, I sell these up to an ounce. You know, I can get even bigger than that because where I'm brokerage through, they're directly linked through the U.S. Mint and through the Canadian Royal Mint as well. So I can get the maple leaves and I can get the American currencies as well. But these are great investments. If you do have some extra cash, you should set aside about 5% of your total portfolio into a physical asset. And that's just because what happens if, I mean, it's a crazy year right now. What happens if the banks close down and they say nobody can get their money like they did during the Great Depression? And let's say you don't have a stockpile of cash on hand. What are you going to do? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist or thinking that the world's going to come to an end.
I keep telling people the Great Depression's here again.
But
y'all better pay attention.
If you have a physical asset, you have the ability to make sure that you can get liquid cash readily right available at any time. So that's what this is. This is investment grade. You pay for this what the spot value is. A lot of people try to gravitate towards jewelry. So here's a gold chain, and I scrap. My business is actually scrapping precious metals. So I have clients bring me broken or damaged or old jewelry, and I either refinish it or fix it up, or I just smelt it down and have it for scrap. So you can invest in this, but remember, when you buy jewelry, you're paying the retail price. Just because this is 10 grams of 10 karat gold doesn't mean it's 10 grand of 24 karat gold, because 10 karat gold is only about 40 something percent actual gold. There's other alloys mixed into it. So yes, you can buy jewelry if you like to wear it around. So a lot of times it can be a bad investment if you're looking for it as an investment. It's not something that I would necessarily invest in. There are some exceptions like Rolexes and things like that. Those tend to be pretty good investments. But just like regular silver and gold chains, they tend to be bad investments. Ridiculous. This is 14 karat gold. This is a kilo of gold. So what I do, I have clients, as one of my clients' pieces. What I do, I either co-sign, do like consignment with really high-end pieces and things of that nature. And part of my business is I'm able to buy these things for people who are in need, whether it be legal troubles or they just want to get rid of something. I'm able to buy things like this from people in need for a fair price for me, that I'm able to resell them for much less than what they would have to buy from a retail store. At 1,000 grams, this is probably costing you about $80,000 in any jewelry store that you go to. If you look it up, you'll see. And I have the ability to buy it at the price of what gold is and what the gold value is in it, and sell this for almost half off, $40,000 to $50,000. So yeah, it worked out in this favor for this particular chain because this was purchased when gold was really low, and this chain is made all the money that it cost in the retail realm. This chain costs about $40,000. It was purchased new, and it should be able to pull about $40,000 to $50,000 for it. So it kind of broke that. That is one scenario where it worked out. But there's a lot of different things. Don't invest in jewelry. But,
they depreciate real quick.
Unless it's Rolex.
What about diamonds?
Diamonds are
Diamonds
cool.
is a girl's best friend.
That is true.
I got a whole lot of diamonds.
I deal in diamonds as well. I actually bought one of your rings.
Yeah, you did.
I bought one of your diamonds.
Upgraded.
Yeah. She sold me one of her diamond. Her and Shamar sold me one of their diamond. And I bought Shamar's diamond ring too.
Can we upgrade?
So diamonds are cool. They're, again, those are recognizable around the world. You can carry a large amount of money in a very small. I can have a little bag. You would never know. I could have $1 million in.
What about these coins? Because I got some from you. How that work? Let them know.
So you can buy the coins, and again, anywhere in the world, they're recognizable and they hold that value. They are real money. They're not a fiat currency. So she sits down. I don't know if I sold you proof sets. I forgot exactly what I got.
I forgot. I got them upstairs though.
So we have, proof sets tend to be a little bit more collectible. Those come in a nice box. I think I did give you that.
Mm-hmm.
The little box, the little pamphlet.
Yep,
Those
yep,
tend to be a little
yep.
bit more collectible. The bullion ones I usually sell in the tubes of 20. Those are just strictly for investment. You buy that, you put it in the safe, and you let it sit there. and
they sitting.
And they sit, and they sit, and they sit. And if you fall in hard times, oh, you rock it. I mean, my grandfather, when he passed away, the reason I got into like precious metals and things like that, he gave me his coin collection. And one of the coins I carry with me in my wallet all the time is a French coin. Now, this coin is from 1728.
1728.
So think about how old that is. Yeah.
How much is it worth?
It's hard to say. Really, it's the first thing. It's a foreign coin.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine it's worth a few $100. It's probably nothing crazy. I've never really had it appraised or anything like that because it's a keepsake for me. You know, it's just like,
well, it's a keepsake, but you should just so that you have it in your safe deposit box, so you know. I
carry it on me with my Glock just in case, you know.
You do? Oh, so that's your lucky coin.
Yeah, this is my lucky coin. I for the last, I'd say 20 years, I've had this thing, and it's always. I've been pretty lucky for the most part, I'd say.
Since you said you're a broker for the coins, how can they get in touch with you?
So
besides the Speakeasy page.
I mean, they can reach out. I'll leave some cards with you, my contact information as well.
I got that. Don't know that.
Yeah, I can always be reached. And again, this is something I do part time, and I kind of call this hobby.
One of his hobbies.
A hobby of mine. You know, it's just, I do have a lot of hobbies, but this one is just a hobby I like to do. It's just fun, honestly. I like to be able to put X amount of dollars out here and then get X amount of dollars back, or I like to see the process of buying something that's ridiculous and seeing how you can make money off of it. It's just a really cool networking thing too. I've met a lot of people in different worlds, you know, like a lot of, bad people. I've met a lot of very successful people, and it's a really cool way to kind of network and kind of sell myself to them as well. So they always come back to me when they need something, or if they need me to sell something for them, or things of that nature. So it's a hobby.
It's a hobby that makes some money. And
if I had the ability to frickin' quit working my full-time job, by all means I would, but it's for the time being.
They want to know, can they purchase out of state? You sure can, April. Girl, what? We do that. I'll text you his business card, and I'm also going to put it on a Speakeasy page.
Yeah, for sure. I can share.
Like and share. Come on, y'all. Share. We dropping nuggets. We dropping jewels. Don't you want your money to work for you instead of you working for your money? Honey, hello.
So just reach out to me, whatever you need. A lot of people know I'm easy to find. I'm a real down-to-earth person, and I'll keep it real.
He's cool beans.
And I'm not gonna, and this is another reason I started doing this too. You go to a pawn shop or a jewelry store and you try to sell them something that you paid X amount of dollars for, they're gonna head crack you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not necessarily gonna head crack you. I'm gonna make it so my margins are still good, but I can't tell you how many people come to me and like, wow, you paid me way more than what they offered me. And I'm like, well, when you're looking at margins as high as they are, I'm just a single person that's working this. I don't have to meet a certain amount. I don't have people coming in my door 24/7. So it definitely helps out if you are someone looking to get rid of some things.
Invest in yourself, people. Invest in yourself.
That's the main rule. Number one, invest in yourself. Read as much as possible.
For real. And what else? What little tidbits else you want to? April says, I'm going to add this to my kids' Christmas list. And get a safety deposit box, people.
A safe or a safety deposit.
And make sure it's a fireproof one. We have two. One to hold the guns. The other one is to hold the stash. Run that. You'll get shot. Play with me if you want to.
I love it.
And I'm adding on to my gun collection.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you that new one that you did.
Yes, I want that
rover.
breed.
So you didn't want nothing big. Again,
no, the big one.
Safety check. Just let you know. Always point in a safe direction. You want nothing
That's
good?
like a Clint Eastwood
Yeah,
one.
this is.
That's a Clint Eastwood.
You got to get something to protect yourself. This is, nobody's gonna run up saying something like this.
Look, but see, that's too much for me being out in public. I need, like when I wear my dresses, I be looking cute. I need one on the thigh. I need one in the brassiere. I need one where I could just get at it, but I boom, boom, real quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, April said, can you please name some books? You missed them, so we're gonna rewind. Go ahead.
I guess the first one that will really change your perspective on how money works and how you can earn money as you get older or however old you are is Robert Kiyosaki's. I know I'm saying his last name wrong, but it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's all you need to type.
Awesome book. It's on my bookshelf.
It is phenomenal. It kind of plays the story as how this guy was growing up with his best friend, and his father was what we call the poor dad, and his friend's father was what we call the rich dad. And it shows how the poor dad was telling his son that he needs to go to school, he needs to get his degree, he needs to follow the American dream per se. And it kind of shows how that poor dad actually stayed in debt and really never excelled at the potential that he potentially had. I think I just overspoke myself. And then it shows the rich dad didn't need to go to school. And I'm not saying don't go to school, because go to school, but he showed that you can make business yourself and be your own boss and set your own goals and set your own standards and be very successful at it. And it's a great book that really, once you read it, it just tells you everything. I would suggest that book specifically. The Warren Buffett book is about 900 pages. It's a much heavier read. It's called Snowball. If you're just starting out, start with the Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then you'll learn from there. You'll find avenues once you read that and kind of see where you want to go, where your mind's at.
I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's on my bookshelf. Highlight, folded down, tabs, you name it, underline. It is very, very, very insight and helpful. Trust and believe.
And you can YouTube Robert too, and he's a great motivational speaker as well. I follow him quite a bit. Also, it depends on what avenue of investing you want to go. If you want to do real estate, Grant Cardone is a great guy to follow too. He's huge, and he's a salesman. He's a salesman, so he does have a product.
What person ain't a salesman?
Yeah,
but sell.
He is phenomenal. He shows you how to take the bank's money and use it to invest in real estate. And one of my very close friends actually follows his thing to a T, and he has over 20 homes right now. So it definitely, if you have, I stay in my lane. That's not my lane. I'm not a real estate investor. I mean, I own a house, and my fiance, we're setting her up after we get married next year to buy a property for income. But it's a lot. I don't want to be a landlord at this point in my life.
I don't either, because Shamark and I was talking about buying, flipping it. But here's the thing. If I buy another house and we rent that out, and you want to damage it, or you want to squander and squat, you know me. He used to sit behind me and told Shamark he was scared of me because did I cuss out the supervisor? This was back in the day. I was alive, I'm still alive, but I was quicker to tell somebody off real quick, fast, in a hurry. And I remember I banged on the desk one time, and he was like, "Oh, what?" I was like, "You're not gonna play with my money." I'm a 19-year-old
kid just
coming into the job. Don't play with my money.
I didn't choose the right thing to do.
She said, April said, "How do y'all feel about Dave Ramsey?"
Oh, Dave Ramsey? Yeah, I mean, so it's all about your cup of tea. Like I stay in my lane,
Spot the tea.
I don't want to talk on things that I don't really know that much about. Dave Ramsey, I don't follow him. I know who he is. I don't follow him much. I follow Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. I follow the teachings of Elon Musk, because I think Tesla's going to take over the world at some point. So I really stick to what I know and what I feel true about.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about stock, about anything financial? Now's the time. But I did post his business card up on the Speakeasy page. Let a sister know, let a brother know, and if you need it, inbox me and I'll get the information over to him. But trust, I have coins. I gotta buy some more from you.
Yeah, we so here's the thing about selling right now. The premiums are so high because it's in such a demand. I have to charge a lot more than what I was charging before.
What?
Yeah, so
the bamboozleness.
So the way that the U.S. Mint works is there's only 12 companies that have the ability to purchase from the U.S. Mint in the entire world. 12 companies. We have one of them here in West New York called Jack Hunt, and that's who my dealership is through. That's who I go through.
Jack Hunt, the real estate people?
No, Jack Hunt, the coin brokerage. Yes.
Okay, thank God.
Not Hunt Realty. No.
Oh, I can't stand Hunt Realty.
So they are one of the 12 that have the ability to purchase directly from the U.S. Mint in the entire world. So the U.S. Mint charges us premium over spot. Now, spot is what the price of that precious metal is in the market, right? So let's say the spot price for an ounce of silver is $27.62, which I think it is today, around that amount. The U.S. Mint will charge Jack Hunt 3% over that amount to purchase from them. So now that $27 coin is now 3% more expensive. Jack Hunt in turns has to make their money, and the dealers like myself have to buy at a premium, which is over that amount that they paid for. And as the dealer, I have to sell it to my consumer for an even higher price. And this is why I love silver so much, because I was selling silver for $16 an ounce a year ago. You know, I think I was selling you some coins. Well, you got the proof sets, but I was selling the standard coins for relatively cheap. You know, if you don't have much disposable income, you can buy a silver coin every other week when you get paid. You did that for a year. That's 26 silver coins you had that you'd have bought at approximately $18. Now those same silver coins are worth $28 if you resell them. And if you just do the simple math, let me just pull up my calculator really quick. So you got 26 silver coins. Let's say your average purchase price was about $17. You'd have invested $442 every other week just buying one silver coin. And right now at 27.62 times 26, you'd have been up 73 divided by 400. So you're up roughly 30% in just a year if you would have just took to that basic math. Now that's beating the market drastically. You know, I said the market typically does 8%. If you would have been investing in precious metals during that time period, it would have beat the market at this time. And that's just because of the pandemic, things are going on. Normally, it doesn't outperform the market like that. I mean, over time it does, but it doesn't typically outperform the market. But leading back to it, that's why now I'm selling silver for a $5 premium over spot, and a $6 premium over spot, depending on what I'm purchasing it from for my wholesaler. So that's why it's been, you know, it's been a tough time. That's why this junk silver, one way I started out, I used to take $100 to a bank and ask for rolls of quarters, right? I'm like, why would you do that? Because I don't have to lose any money. I can take a roll of quarters and look through every quarter for any pre-64 quarters, which are 80% silver. Remember what I said? 1964 quarters and dimes are silver. They're 80% silver. And like I said,
quarters and dimes. You know, when Christmas time comes around, like now, I start getting $20 to $30 worth of rolled quarters, and I put them in the thing. And then at the end of November, we roll them all, and then we use that for Christmas gifts for the kids.
That's a cool idea.
Because
cool.
and I do quarters.
You check through
and
them.
I don't count them. But now I'm about to check them.
You see how the quarter is silver on the inside? If you look at the new ones now, they have copper, the ones after 64. So one of my big clients that's come to me several times, she owned a coin laundromat.
She made out like a bandit.
So she knew what she was doing. And
for real?
I go to her house one day and set up a deal to buy, I must have counted 100. No, I count 1,000. Me and my fiance had to count 1,000 coins just to make sure that they were silver. and go through all of them to make sure that everything was in order, and so I can get her a fair price. And this lady would come to me once a month. And, she's retired, so she just set that up at her retirement. I met her at the casino one day to give her some money for some coins. She brought me a box. She needed to gamble it away, and there's different ways you can hustle. I'm a hustler, right? So I hustle any way I can, whether it be coins, whether it be jewelry, whether it be anything I can try to make money on. I'm gonna try to hustle at it.
I know that's right. Yes. Ron, CJ, do y'all have any questions? Yep. Ooh, I think I got a question. Okay. Ernest said, nope, I got my question in. I like him. He's cool. I know.
Thanks, Ernest.
What do I tell y'all? I'm not bringing on just anybody, baby. Okay. Ron, since you're on with me, do you have any questions?
Not really. I mean, Gerald, you hit on everything. It was a great interview. Honestly, my biggest question would kind of be, what would you say to someone that was maybe 18, about to start going into that life and what they need to do? Or even better yet, 14, because that's that age where you enter into high school. And that's where you really got to develop. What would you tell to somebody? Go ahead, you ready?
Got Jalen, who's 15, so I'm all
tell them exactly what they need, because I wish an old head would have schooled me when
I know that's right.
You know what I mean? Like, because they'd have steered me in the right path, and I probably would have been Bill Gates by now. I mean, just messing around. But I mean, man, I would really say invest as much spare money as you have. An 18-year-old, they're just starting out in the work field. They have so many years of work and so many years to have their investments compound. They can make tremendous amount of money. I mean, they have the ability. I didn't start investing until I was 19 years old, which I started pretty young, and that's how I've been able to accumulate quite a bit. But at 14 years old, man, they can start doing a job, making money. Like right now, I got my daughter, my oldest, she collects the bottles to return them. They have a little bit of money saved up, right? You can start, I pay these little boys on my street to do my lawn, give them $20. They're young kids, 15 years old, and they kind of build that mindset on, I need to work hard to make good money. Now you take that same mindset and you turn it into investing. Like, hey, you take any extra money you got, put that into the Roth IRA. Do you know what $80,000 would do on a Roth IRA? Remember, you don't pay tax on an IRA once you withdraw at all, because you pay the taxes up front. That person would have over $600,000 in terms of retirement with just an $80,000 investment without investing another penny at 18 years old. Without investing another penny. So you can kind of see how compounding interest really builds a lot of value as time goes on. And when you're younger like that, you have a lot more years. And any young guy, I'm going to tell them to do that as much as possible. Make sure, and with school as well. School is huge. We focus on that a lot. And the Poor Dad and Rich Dad Poor Dad kind of showed you how school can also be a negative as well. So there's this one article I read about a person graduating high school and going into med school to be a doctor, and the same boy, same age, graduating high school and getting his trade skill in plumbing. For the first 10 years of both of their working careers, the plumber is outperforming the doctor in terms of his dollar, because he's not paying back as many student loans, because he's making a lot more money earlier on once you become a master plumber, et cetera, et cetera. And it shows that you can earn that with a skilled trade, and that's a big need. How many times has your hot water tank went, or how many times has your furnace went where you need to call somebody and they're like, hey, we need $2,000. You know what I mean? Those are skilled trades that cannot be automated either. That's another thing. Automation has killed a lot of jobs. It's killed the auto industry to some extent. It's killed a ton of jobs. But you can't automate a plumber, or you can't automate an electrician. So if I had advice for younger me, I would say go into that skilled trade before going to school, just to be able to have the earnings and see how you can make money yourself without relying on that degree to just make ends meet. Because nowadays, your master's degree really doesn't in a lot of cases doesn't do it for you. But again, education is key. You should go on and get your degree, but I would just give them that perspective and let them use their free will that God gave them to make that decision.
Yeah. All right. I don't see any other questions. I thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me.
Again, tell them your email address, even though I have the card up.
It's JARROLD Anderson, ANDERSON @gmail.com.
All right. And you got your phone number on here. Do you want to tell them it?
Yeah, 716-553-6991. Shoot me a text preferably. I will answer the calls. Like I said, I work full time, so I'm normally on the clock in normal business hours.
Like they say when you're doing fantasy, you're on the clock. Well, I do thank you for stopping on in and sharing some tidbits and everything else. I hope you guys was blessed like I was, because I have notes here. I will be applying. Like Tony Nicely says, sell, refer. He is invest. I'm trying to make my money work for me and not me working for my money. Okay, honey. All right, well, I do thank you for tuning in with your girl Sunshine here. Take us out, Ron. Have a blessed night.
Peace.
And we're out, Ron. He made